First and foremost, I think what you want to do before anything else is you need to start with your actual settings on your PC. So we're going to start for our NVIDIA folks right here and now. No matter what NVIDIA card you have, these are some recommended things to start with that are going to help things run better for everybody, no matter what game you ever play. Here we go. First off, right-click your desktop. You should have NVIDIA Control Panel installed right here. Click on that. If it does not show up, you may also have one in your main bar somewhere down here. It's going to look something like this. You're going to right-click it and click NVIDIA Control Panel. Things to be aware of. Number one, CUDA GPUs and your OpenGL rendering GPU. What this is when it is default, it is set to auto select. When you first have installed your driver, it's set to auto select. What that means is if you have multiple different graphics cards, for instance, some of you have a GPU on your chip, considered an integrated graphics unit. Your computer will automatically try to switch between the two of those to save power and to save. It's for energy savings purposes. We are gamers. We want to use as much energy as possible while still trying to be a little bit responsible with the planet. You need your GPU needs power. Give it all the power. Okay? So, in order to do that, you need to do two important things. OpenGL rendering GPU. Select your main GPU. If you have something that says integrated graphics and then something that says RTX, choose the RTX one. Secondly, you're going to go to your CUDA GPUs, and where it says all, if you have a choice here, you are going to uncheck the other GPU. You don't want to be running CUDA on your integrated graphics and then running your 3070 at the same time. Just pick one. I only have one because my chip does not have integrated graphics. I saved like $50 by doing that. It's whatever. Okay. For our purposes, leave low latency mode off. Max frame rate off. G-Sync compatible. If you have a G-Sync or FreeSync machine that supports it, I would definitely utilize this feature for all of your games. That is there by default. It tends to do a pretty good job of seeing that for you. Again, power management mode. Here we go. Second most important thing that you're going to set in this screen. You're going to select maximum performance. It is set to normal. Why? What that means is that this will not throttle the voltage going to your graphics card. It won't throttle it, so that you're always able to access. It doesn't mean your GPU is going to be running at 100% all the time. It just means that it's going to use less. It just means that it's not going to drop it down and prevent it from ramping up quickly. Okay? So this is kind of like, if you're not careful, you're basically putting a limiter on your GPU. And you will feel a difference on power management. Preferred refresh rate is going to be set to highest available automatically, but you do want to make sure that is set there. And then I'm going to give you two personal preference settings that I feel are very important for GTA 5 specifically. That is this texture filtering negative LOD bias. When you're using when you're using AF, you usually set it to 8 or 16, right? Right? It's a big part of what gets rid of the jaggies when something is stationary, but when you're moving, it can make things shimmer. What you want to do is set that to clamp for FIVEM and GTA 5. So go ahead and set that to clamp. That can help you out a lot. Leave texture filtering at quality. There's a lot of things that will tell you to turn this down. With GTA 5, it really doesn't look very good when you do it. The other one I'm trying with, I was messing with, was texture filtering, trilinear optimization. Leave that to on. That is the default, and that should be set to on. VSync, this is going to be personal preference. I would leave this to use the 3D application setting and set VSync inside the game. I always use VSync and G-Sync. I see screen tearing if I don't. So for my system, when streaming, I use VSync. And then the thing that you're going to make sure that you do is scroll all the way down to the bottom and hit that apply button that you just saw me hit. If you do not hit apply and exit out, it will not work. The second thing I want you to double check is make sure you go to change resolution and make sure that you are set to the highest refresh rate on the PC settings that you possibly can be for your main monitor. This is very important because sometimes it'll default, like if I default up here to using this, it will not give me my 144 hertz. And that does make a big difference. So do double check that you're on the PC settings, the appropriate resolution for your monitor, and that you're at the 144 hertz as well. Okay? The final thing I would double check is if you do have a G-Sync or G-Sync compatible, you're going to click the checkbox and enable for full screen mode. Do not enable for windowed and full screen mode, especially if you have two monitors. If you have one monitor, you might be able to get away with it. If you have two monitors, do not do this, because what it'll do is G-Sync gets confused right now with it. So leave that alone and just enable for full screen mode and make sure you're running. You want to be running. We're going to get into the GTA settings in a second. You want to be running full screen exclusive when you're playing the game anyway, and you really don't want to be alt-tabbing out to get your best performance. Alt-tabbing tends to break a lot of different stuff in GTA and can introduce crashes and stuff. Trust, you guys have seen it crash my whole system, so just be careful with stuff like that. And that's it. That is all I would do here. Make sure all of that is saved. Go ahead and close out your NVIDIA control panel, and that's what you have to do there.